I'm on the floor right now in the movie room for a video that some people actually wanted, which very cool. It's going to take me a little bit of time to do here, but going to go over the complete movie book collection. I'm going to just show what I got. Some of them or all of them, I'll run through the pages quickly to show you what it is. Yeah, I love collecting these. You find out really interesting information you don't find in the special features of the movies a good chunk of the time. So yeah, we'll run through it. They're not in any type of order. So you might see, a thing book and then later on another thing book, but not together. Nothing's in any type of order. So maybe we'll actually start this off with a thing book. This is The Art of the Thing. It's released from a company called Printed on Blood. And correction, it's actually printed in blood, not printed on blood. But yeah, it's basically just a bunch of alternative movie posters made from different artists for the thing. It's a cool coffee table book. It's very cool to look through. I got this for Christmas a couple of years ago. And yeah, I've already looked through it a couple of times. It's cool. There's like no words or anything. This is purely for art. I like it quite a bit though. Next up is a Citizen Kane book. I picked this up at I can't remember what the used bookstore was, but this is actually a book from the 80s, I want to say. Let's open it up and check. So here's the back side. It's got a nice cover on it, but well, yeah, it's the 50th anniversary. What the heck? It's an older book though. Yeah, it was a cool one to run across. The whole thing is in black and white. Oh, it's from 1990. But yeah, it was only a few bucks for this book. It's all just information on the movie with lots of behind the scenes pictures. And that was the name of the bookstore I got it from. So yeah, neat book for a classic movie. Next up, I've showed this one before. It is called Making Moon. This is, if you've not seen the movie Moon, it's fantastic. One of the best.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, that damn computer. I really need to shut Siri off on that thing. But
I don't know how to respond to that.
Oh my God, I really have to do that. But yeah, this is a movie by Duncan Jones, great sci-fi film, and this is all about the making of it, obviously Making Moon. I may or may not have showed this one previously. I'm not really sure. But yeah, this is just full of information about the making of the movie. Pretty standard type of book, but I guess I wouldn't have thought of a movie like Moon getting one, so yeah, I had to have this. I bought this right on release. Oh, look at that. I don't know why. I guess I used that as a bookmark. I don't even know if that's still valid or not, if anyone wants to check. But yeah, cool little book. Next is this Jurassic Park book. I did show footage of this already, so I'm not gonna switch over. This is a really cool book, but yeah, I did show this in a haul. Really like this book. Really love this movie. Do you like Bong Joon-ho? That made Parasite and Memoirs of a Murderer. Lots of really good movies. Well, one that I don't feel like gets as much love, even though I agree it's towards the bottom of his filmography, but I really loved Okja. It's a Netflix movie, and I kind of surprised I got a book, and I had to get the book because this is the only official physical thing for the movie you could get. Besides, there is a for your consideration screener of the movie. This is gonna be another like pretty standard. You know what you're getting into with it. A lot of these making of books are pretty much cookie cutter, but they're all laid out in different ways, but they're all telling you basically the same type of information about their movies. They'll have storyboards and behind the scenes footage or pictures, things like that. Next one, I think I showed before in a video, but it's a book called Uncredited. And this is actually all about the title cards in movies done by artists and graphic designers. This is a really fabulous book. This is one for movie fans I highly recommend checking out. It's one of those things where, like, title cards kind of exist in movies, but they don't really get the love for what they do for setting up the tone of the movie. So this actually just all goes into about the artists that have written, a lot of them just completely uncredited and not thought about, even though they're the ones that set up the tone of the movie right off the bat. Really, really cool book. If you're into art and graphic design, things like that, definitely check this one out. I don't have full rhyme or reason why everything that's in here. This one, it's in here just because it's a TV book, but I have this Trevor Noah book from The Daily Show. I'm not going to go through that. I'm not looking about political stuff at all on the channel. But yeah, skip to the next thing, which is, what is it? Miss Pettigrews Home of, what is it? Peculiar Children. I did not see this movie. I didn't even look through this book yet. I got this for, what the heck was this? Like $4 or something like that. And I'm always going to pick up the Art of and Making of books for something that cheap. So, but I didn't even, I'm not going to go through that. I don't even know if anyone really remembers that movie. Here we got Bill and Ted's Most Excellent Movie Book. This one is pretty cool. I really enjoy the Bill and Ted movies. And this came out right when Face the Music came out. It's all about Face the Music, but also about like the franchise as a whole and Bill and Ted characters. Really cool book. So this isn't even that much, I don't think. You could probably get this much cheaper now. Let's see. Oh god, yeah, $25 book. And a lot of times with these books after release, you could get them quite a bit cheaper. So this is, I wouldn't doubt if you'd get this for like $15, $20 now. Next one up, I showed this in a past haul, but it is The Travelodge of Horror, if I could pick it up properly. Really cool book about filming locations for horror movies. I picked this one up on Hamilton Book for not that much money. And yeah, this is all about different filming locations for real life horror and horror movies, things like that. One of the cool things about it too is I'm in Pennsylvania. A good chunk of stuff in here is actually Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, things that are not really all that far from me. Got a wow, I'm a mess sometimes. Jeez, come on, pick it up. A Man of Steel book. I picked this up at that's an Ollie's sticker for very, very cheap. It's still sealed. I didn't even look through this one yet. I'm not crazy on the new DC movies. Really didn't care about Cavill's Superman, but again, it was ridiculously cheap. So sometime I'll just look through it. Next up, we have The Art of X-Files, which I love this show. This was a cool one to find at Strand Bookstore in New York for $6. If you're ever in New York City, Strand Bookstore is phenomenal. It's like one of the best indie bookstores like out there in general. But yeah, it was cool to run across an X-Files book. X-Files is I mean it's a cult show, but they don't really make too much for it now. So this was a neat little book for $6 though. Next one up is a book all about Paramount. Also picked this up from Hamilton Book. So yeah, this is all about the history of the movie studio Paramount. Really cool, and again, this Hamilton Book, super cheap. I don't think they still have it now, but we all know Hamilton Book now when it comes to movies. But sometimes y'all need to actually check the book side too, because you can really get some cool stuff in there. But yeah, just a whole bunch of information and pictures about the whole run of Paramount. It's really cool. And it was like $8, I think. We are in the last book of the first cube. I guess I did anticipate how long this would take, but my gosh, my back is already hurting. This is going to take me all day, like off and on. Ugh. But I like talking about this stuff. I just maybe should have anticipated doing it in a better spot than on the floor. So yeah, this book is The Art of Archer, which if you've not seen Archer before, it's one of the funniest adult cartoons out there. It's a James Bond-ish show where the lead guy, Archer, is an idiot, but kind of not, but then yeah, kind of is. It's stuff just kind of works out for him a chunk of times. Other times it goes horribly wrong, but really cool show. It's very funny. I need to catch up on it, though. I'm not current on it right now. So yeah, that cube down, all of that to go, some stuff over there, and some stuff behind me. So a little bit of ways to go. Okay, I'm now sitting in my chair at the desk. Hopefully this works out a little bit better for me. I kind of instead just stacked it all up and grabbed from the first one. And look at this, I could actually do it at a desk. So I probably should have thought about this in the first place. But I showed this in a previous video. I've recommended this a couple of times too. But ad nauseum, this is all just old newspaper, like scans of old newspaper clippings for horror movies. Really, really cool. There is 2 versions of this book, and then there is one for sci-fi films too. This is highly recommended as a trip down memory lane, essentially, and seeing artwork and stuff that you don't really see these days anymore. So really, really recommend this one. List price is $38, and you could get it for less. But yeah, this is a partnership with Rue Morgue for this. So I also put in my more like collectible so I also put in more of my more collectible magazines and things like that. So I'm not going to run through what's in them, but like this is a birth movies death, for Halloween 2018. And there is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This came out on newsstands right around the time the movie came out. Another birth movies death for War of the Planet of the Apes. Then yeah, a lot of magazine stuff mixed in. SFX is a good magazine, but this is all about Ghostbusters. Sometimes they're just as good information as the books, but Newsweek did a Jurassic Park, got that. Life magazine did all about science fiction movies. That was a good one. Birth Movies Death for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And then we're hitting the next actual books. So this one has been in the collection quite a while, and that is Walking Dead Chronicles. I do not watch Walking Dead anymore. I haven't watched Walking Dead in I don't even know how long. But I did really love the show when it started. I have a poster that's autographed by a chunk of the early cast, including like Norman Reedus and stuff. So, but this is pretty early on. I don't even know when it says new season this fall. I don't even know what season it's talking about, because like I said, this is very early on. I wouldn't doubt if this was for back with season 1 or season 2. I really liked the show, but I felt like it started to get super repetitive because the entire show is basically, group of survivors go in a new spot, hunker down, then a bad human comes and wrecks it all, and they move on to a new place and repeat and repeat and repeat, and it just, I don't know. I got sick of it, but I know people still do love this show. Another way older one is Hunger Games. This is from back when the movies came out. I liked the movies. I think I got this. Yeah, this is like a $19 book. I don't even need to go through this. It's a really cheap little book. It's from Scholastic, so it's nothing special whatsoever. And Hunger Games are fine, but I really liked them when they first came out. Next one is pretty cool. It's from Titan Books, who they do make really cool books. This is about Cabin in the Woods. I enjoy the heck out of this movie. This is still, I mean, I love this one. I think it's very original. The CGI could be a little bit better, but it really didn't have that big of a budget. It is a very cool movie, though. This is one I think you can grab pretty cheap nowadays, but yeah, this is all another one of the standard behind the scenes, but it's got like it's got the script mixed in and tons of pictures. It's a cool book. I think I've seen this for like $10 nowadays. I bought it when it first came out, but oh yeah, see, this is only a $20 book in the first place, so it's cool. Definitely check it out if you like this movie. Next one is a graphic novel, but it also works in the TV and movie books, and don't drop it now. Twilight Man. This is a graphic novel about Rod Serling. Very cool. Rod Serling was a genius. Twilight Zone and Night Gallery, amazing shows. So this was really cool. What was the price on this? $23. I'll show you the inside now. So yeah, I really like how it's actually in black and white, which makes a ton of sense, obviously based off the shows he did, but really, really cool. I already read through this. I liked it quite a bit. Rod Serling, like I said, was a genius. So this is very cool. If you like graphic novels and stuff and you like Twilight Zone, I would say check this one out, really. So next one up, I've already mentioned in videos, but I really like movie soundtracks. See all those up there? Soundtracks on vinyl. I have a pretty large selection of them, or collection. I'm going to be doing a video on them at some point. That's a lot. But I have some books based on that stuff, and this one is called Planet Wax. This is all about specific sci-fi. Yeah, sci-fi and fantasy soundtracks, and it just talks about fantasy and sci-fi soundtracks. Sometimes I have to slow my damn mouth down. Ugh. This is released by 1984. They're the ones that Ad Nauseam book. They did that in partnership with Rue Morgue. This one is fully them. But this came out on a record store day in the past. But yeah, this just talks about soundtracks and shows their cover art and who did it, who was the composer, stuff like that. It's a really cool book. And there's a few of these now, like horror one, which I have some. I'll be running through all this stuff anyway. Next up, I have a book that I purchased twice for some reason. I think I maybe 2 different used bookstores, so I will just plop that one down because it's literally the same exact book. I probably didn't spend too much on either copy, but whatever, it's not that big a deal. But yeah, it's just all about classic moments in movies. Cool book. Can obviously be found very easily and very cheap. Enough that I found 2. No price on it there, but I definitely only paid a few bucks for it. Next one is an awesome book that I actually got sent to me by Hammer's Home Video. He's on Instagram. Great guy. Obviously, based off the statue that I did previously. I'm an Audrey Hepburn fan. So sent me this book. Very cool book. I'll show you the inside of this. I have several Audrey books, and one I might ask someone to help me if someone would be able to find, because there was when I get to that. But anyways, this is a cool book. Like I said, I have several Audrey books. Yeah, this one's pretty big and goes into her deeper into her like later life. There's a lot of books. I have one. It's either Audrey in the 50s or Audrey in the 60s, and I need the other one, the one I'm missing. But there's a lot of them don't deal as much with her later life. This dives into her later life, which is very cool. She was an amazing person, honestly. So this is a very, very cool book. And then to not even switch this off, I'm not even going to show this one because it's in like a box, and it's pretty beat. What the heck did I buy this at? God, this might have been like a Dollar Tree or something. I didn't buy this at a regular bookstore. It was somewhere like ridiculously cheap. But I like 24. It was a good show. This next one, though, is very cool. Chronology of Film. I bought this. This one I didn't even buy that long ago. It's a $30 book. I probably paid pretty close to that. But it's just all about film in general and great films. And I didn't read the whole thing yet. I've just pretty much skimmed it more so and reading about select movies. But it's a really well put together book. Love the cover. That's a cool one. This next one, I bought this like opening weekend of the movie maybe or after, because I loved the movie. I really, really loved it. But that is Little Women. What is this? The official movie companion. I really loved Little Women. I might not be the target demographic of it, but I thought it was a wonderful movie. All the leads I thought were great. The score, one of my favorite scores of recent memory. It is so fantastic. I really, really loved this one. And no one really talks about it anymore. I even the year when it came, what was this? 17? Was this 17 or 18? No, 19. Geez, I don't know. Time anymore is just this flat line. Time is whatever. But yeah, so 2019. So yeah, this is, like I said, movie companion, just different stuff from behind the scenes, making the movie. I thought this was absolutely fabulous, though. Like, for Greta Gerwig, I feel like Lady Bird gets all the love, and I liked Lady Bird well enough, but I really, really loved Little Women. It's such a fabulous movie. The next one is an interesting one that I think I picked this up at like Barnes & Noble, but about graphic designing props for filmmaking. It's not about specific props, but more so about the process of designing props made for movies. So yeah, this goes in pretty much in depth on just ideas and paths on how to create a good prop for movies. It's pretty cool. There was some cool information in it. I started for graphic design at school. I put that on a pause for the moment. It's hard to balance work and school. It really is. But this is a really, really neat book. And last up for Cube 2. There's still a lot left. Firefly art book. Really, really loved Firefly and Serenity. I showed this off before. Oh, it's hard to... But, oh, there we go. See up there? That's Malcolm Reynolds' pistol, like a replica of it. There. I'm really bad at aiming cameras sometimes. But, yeah, this is a cool art book by Titan Books. So I'll dive into it right now, just show you. But I really loved this show. It's a shame everything we've heard about Joss Whedon now, because I loved stuff Joss Whedon has created. And it doesn't take away from the shows themselves. I still love Firefly. I still love Buffy, but God, the amount of stuff from behind the scenes you've heard about actors with the way Joss treated them. Oh my God, poor Charisma Carpenter was treated like trash by him. But yeah, this is a very, very cool book. Really like it. Joss had, God, he had a string of awesome stuff with, you know, Buffy, Angel, Firefly, and Dollhouse. What a shame. But yeah, very cool book. Not even halfway, and I'm going to end up needing to charge up the camera and get something to eat because this is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated. But next stack is all ready, so we'll dive into it, and we'll start it with this Hitchcock Heroines book, which this was also Hamilton book. And it's about exactly what the title says. It's about the heroines from Hitchcock movies. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, you will notice throughout the collection I have got several Hitchcock books, because Hitchcock is one of the greatest directors of all time, and he has so many fantastic movies. But not only movies is great, and he hired some of the best actors, he hired some of the top and best actresses. And there's things to be said, I guess, for his ethics on sometimes how he treated the actors and actresses. But he really made amazing movies. So I love his movies. And this is a really cool book. You might still be able to get this on Hamilton. I'm not sure. But its list price was $30. If you've been watching the channel long enough, you already know what some of my top favorite movies are. And this is one I had to have for my third favorite movie of all time, hands down. And that is Die Hard. Love, love, love Die Hard. And this is a really cool book. This I've seen, though, super cheap. Got this early on. This is a $50 book. I've seen this now for like $10, $15. You can get this really cheap now. So yeah, we'll dive in. This is one of the visual history books all about the making of Die Hard. And not even just the first, just the franchise as a whole. This is all about the franchise. Really cool pictures. Got this with cards of Alan Rickman. I would really love to visit the real building. That would be awesome. But yeah, I adore Die Hard. I mean, that is one of my favorite sets I have in the collection. There's not a whole lot of Die Hard merch, I guess you could say, compared to my other favorites. Like Jurassic Park is my all-time favorite movie. There is an insane amount of merch for Jurassic Park. And then Ghostbusters is my second favorite. And there's also a ton of merch for it, but for Die Hard, not nearly as much. But very cool book. If you are a fan of the franchise, kind of bummed my book is a little dinged up, but oh well. So if you've been watching me long enough, you also know I'm a fan of posters for movies, but it's even just, I love the ad nauseum book because I love basically just the idea of the advertising for movies. That's all posters are. They're advertising. And that's what this is a really cool book picked up, The Art of Selling Movies. And this starts in the 20s or I think the 20s. And this is all about the concept of how they decided how they were going to sell you on movies, how the newspaper ads they were going to make and everything would get your butt into seats in theaters. Let's look inside. These are some of the types of books that I really love to comb through because you can find out so much cool information. But yeah, there's all types of early newspaper ads for movies, and it just talks about what made an ad work, what made an ad not work. Basically, I mean, they had it down. They knew what would get your butts into seats. And yeah, this covers the whole, but basically early cinema. If you are a fan of just history of movies, I would definitely recommend this. And it was a list price of $40. I want to say this might have been Hamilton book. Might have been. But yeah, you could probably find this pretty well priced now. Next one I haven't even opened yet. I'll open it at some point. But so it's the Art of Black Panther. I initially had the idea I wanted all of the MCU art books, but I'm missing a lot. And when I looked into the prices on a lot of the early ones, it's a lot of money. So I abandoned that idea, and now I'm just picking up ones I really like. And I like Black Panther. It's a really good movie, but I just didn't get around to opening this one. I more so initially bought it because like I'm getting all of them, and then no, I'm really not. I mean, the early ones are a ton of money. MCU fans do not screw around. They will pay through the nose for the product. But next up, we have Frank Miller's Sin City, The Making of the Movie. Picked this up. This was also Strand Bookstore for $7.50. You'll know what you're getting into, but I'll show you the inside. As I said, these books are pretty self-explanatory, but I did really enjoy the first Sin City. It was visually a heck of an awesome movie. The graphic novel is pretty cool too, but yeah, it's a neat little book. I don't think I would have paid too much for it, but $7.50 at a Strand bookstore, I'm good with that. Next up, I'm not going to show you the inside. I didn't even look through it yet. Homeland, it's about the show Homeland. Basically just the behind the scenes and stuff like that. But that's what I paid, $2.99 at Ollie's. So that's why I picked it up, because the show looks good, and I plan to get around to the show at some point. But I did not yet, so I'm not going to look through the book for a show I haven't even seen yet. I'll get around to it at some point, though, because it's got a good cast in it. I've heard good things on it. Next up, we have Gangs of New York. This is a fantastic movie. This book doesn't even have a price on it on the outside, but we'll dive inside. So yeah, this is a making of and the complete screenplay, which is pretty cool. I have one or two screenplay books in the collection, not too much. But yeah, the back is all screenplay, and the front is all making of the movie. If you're a fan of the movie, I'm sure this would be something you'd really like. It's a really good movie. That's what the price was. I did not pay that. I don't remember where I got this. I didn't pay too much for this, though. So one of my favorite shows is Twilight Zone, like all-time shows. Twilight Zone is an amazing show, but I'm a fan of like anthology shows in general. A great anthology show that picked up a lot of traction once Netflix grabbed it. It was first a BBC show, then Netflix started picking it up for, I think, starting in season 3. But Black Mirror, this book is all about the inside Black Mirror, which, if you haven't seen it before, this show is basically a Twilight Zone centered on technology and where technology could go really, really wrong. Picked this one up at Books A Million, but I've seen it since for pretty cheap at places. So this is one I think you can get it for like $15 or something like that. Ooh, that's a fabulous episode. Really, really good one. San Junipero. There's tons of great episodes in the show, but this one, God, I can't really say too much I don't want to give anything away, but the 80s aesthetic and the soundtrack, it's so good. It is so damn good. There's a lot of episodes of the show that are just so screwed up. Like, you think you know the direction it's going, and then no, it pulls the rug from under you. Really, really good show, though. Now one for my second favorite movie of all time, which I have a couple of books on, but this is the visual? Yeah, Ultimate Visual History for Ghostbusters. Like I said, I have a few Ghostbusters books in the collection. All right, Ultimate Visual History. Look at that. Look. We've got, it's kind of like that, the Jurassic Park book I showed in a previous video, or because I didn't show the Jurassic Park in this, they're very similar to each other with like things glued and taped on pages, like little pull-out stuff and like, you know, a Venkman business card, stuff like that. That's what a lot of these like visual history books have. Just cool little like memento type stuff. They're neat little books. Sometimes it can make flipping the pages a little bit of a pain, but they are pretty neat, and I think you can grab this book for a pretty good price. I'm really pumped for, I'm going to Monster Mania in March, and as long as, you know, COVID doesn't derail things, Ernie Hudson will be there, and I am very excited for that. Here's one that I think a lot of, like, niche horror fans would like, and that is, it's got Bleeding Skull, 1990s trash horror odyssey, and it's about pretty much like C-grade horror movies, and it was interesting. I looked through it. I didn't like in-depth read this. I looked through it. So far, it was pretty cool. I picked it up on Hamilton Book for a pretty good price, but its list price on the back is $35. I think fans of you know, this type of horror, like super low budget horror, though, would get a kick out of this. I looked through this. I knew almost none or totally none of the movies, I should say. It's there's a lot of obscure stuff in here. So maybe, I mean, Brian Goes Blue and My Killer Podcast, and maybe you guys would really get a kick out of something like this. I like horror a lot, but I guess I don't know as much on the, you know, really obscure stuff. It's pretty cool to look through, though. But yeah, $35, and I think I found it on Hamilton Book for $20 or $15. Next one, I don't really need to open this one. You would know what you're getting into with it. It's the Art of the Watchmen movie. It says $9.99. I think paid even less. I think it was on bargain price and then even clearance past that. Sorry if you're a Watchmen fan and I'm not showing that one. Then we got Visions from the Upside Down. I really enjoy Stranger Things. I'm looking forward to the new season. Very cool art book, though. I'll show you inside of this. I like this book a lot, but it's a matte cover, and it gets a little scuffed up. I mean, all I'd had it on was a shelf. So, oh well. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, this is a lot like that Thing book, where it's about art. It's alternative art for the show. That's all. So if you're an art fan of the show, something like this would be really cool to skim through. I gotta get a nice Stranger Things print. Yeah. Another really cool one for horror fans, and this one is in bookstores now. It's easy to find. That is Untold Horror. This book is all about horror films that never happened. According to the back, even insightful interviews from horror legends George Romero, John Landis, Joe Dante, so on and so forth. Take a deep dive into the development hell to find the most compelling horror films that were never made, from a Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, A New Reanimator. Yeah, it's all about films that were never made, so I'll show you the inside. Information like this is really cool, because this author would have had to go, pretty much combing through so much information to find out about all these different movies that just never happened. So it's got storyboarding and artwork for movies that just, one reason or another, didn't gain any traction. George Romero's Copperhead. Cannibal Holocaust sequels, Maniac sequels, Toby Hooper's White Zombie. Yeah, I feel like horror fans would absolutely love something like this, though. Last book now for Cube 3 is an art of, but it's an art of a specific artist. So, as you know, also, I collect a lot of, let's see if I can aim this correctly. So, like the alternative posters like that, the stuff from like Mondo and things like that. A lot of them have the same artists throughout. And one of them that is pretty popular is one called Gary Pullen. He does primarily horror. So this is a art of ghoulish Gary Pullen. Yeah, it's all his artwork. So I'll show you the inside of it. But really cool guy to follow on like Instagram and stuff like that. Yeah, I think his art has been used on some big stuff before. There's like a 3D print inside, which is really cool. But yeah, so like, so that is the artwork used for the Arrow release of Children of the Corn. So like, yeah, his art has been on different physical media releases, and just past Cloverfield, that was that was used by Waxwork for the vinyl soundtrack. He has some awesome artwork, and yeah, he's a horror guy. He specializes in horror art. It's a really cool book, though. I definitely recommend, though, checking into some of like these alternative artists, though, that make artwork for movies, artwork that just should have happened in the first place for some of them. But really cool book. Okay, so I took a little bit of a break, charged the phone up, but not near enough. Yeah, I'm gonna see what I could get done right now. If I have to split this into 2 days of filming, we'll see. There's still a decent amount, but we'll continue on right now with, if I could grab it, 1001 Movies. So this is a book that has many editions by now. I don't know which edition this is. Let me switch the camera view. So yeah, this book is sold in like most major bookstores. It's had many different editions, but this is basically supposed to be like the 1001 best movies that you have to see before you die. And they update it every couple of years and throw in new movies, take out some. You've probably seen this around before. Next one I've just picked up actually this past weekend and should have thrown, actually the next two, I should have thrown them in the haul video I just recorded for Video Game Movie Dome and stuff. Should have thrown this in because I picked it up the same day. But Best Movies of the 80s, which it's exactly what it says in the title. Pretty straightforward on what this actually entails, but the paper, it's really thick stock paper. I was kind of surprised, like, it's hard to, you can't really convey that, but it's thick stock. It's a well-made book. I believe, yeah, they make a lot of, like, really expensive books. I don't know what this was originally, but paid $6.99 for it. It's a neat little book. The other book picked up that day is Sci-Fi Movie Freak, which it's... I'll switch over, actually. I was going to try to describe it. I'll just switch over because it does have a pretty cool thing in the back to show you. So yeah, this thing is all just about different sci-fi movies, which I love sci-fi, so that's cool. But what's really neat is in the back, there's actually a DVD copy of Plan 9 from Outer Space. Look at that. There's a horror movie version that includes a copy of Night of the Living Dead. Because they're public domain movies, that's why. They could just throw them in. But, yeah, neat little book. What was the list on this? Paid $10.99 list. Oh, it was $21.99. Next couple are regular books. Nothing to... I'm not going to flip through them because it's literally just words. They're regular books. We got Real Power. This is... what? Hollywood cinema and American supremacy. It's all about American military in movies. One called How to Watch a Movie, and it's basically how to watch and properly dissect a movie and what you're seeing and what is technically good and bad. I started reading it. It was a little I don't know, high and mighty for me, I guess, but it's interesting. There is best movies or best movie year ever. This is all about the year 1999, how it's supposedly the best year of movies ever. And I don't know, I've read a little bit. I gotta, I guess, read more to fully grasp it because I don't think 1999 is the best movie year ever, but that's the argument that this book tries to make. A Stephen Colbert book. Next one I will show inside. Best movies of the 80s, another 80s one. My favorite decade for movies by far is the 80s. The 80s is freaking great. There is so many classics. Two of my top three are 80s, and the other one is only shortly out of the 80s. But in general, 80s by far dominates the most of like my top 100. There's more 80s than anything else. This one's not going to be much different than that other one. Essentially, it's just, again, another collection of this author's best movies of the 80s. But it's colorful, it's fun, it's laid out well. Stuff like this is always cool to look through. Popular titles that may interest you. Oh, that's from Hamilton Book, because I got this from Hamilton Book. They just threw that in there. I didn't even realize that the first time I looked through. So, yeah, pretty cool. Picked this up from them for pretty cheap. This next one, I have no idea why I had it in the movie books, but I guess it doesn't really... Maybe it should go into the downstairs library with all the rest of the books, but I have like a art of like skateboards and snowboards and stuff, and surfboards. I used to skateboard when I was younger, so I thought this was cool. I picked this up at like Goodwill for a few bucks. I don't know. It shouldn't really be in the movie books, but yeah, I did pick that up. But the next one, it's a little dirty from, I think, ripping off the sticker. But This Life, Steve Mcqueen. And my God, Steve McQueen was one of the most badass actors of the like 50s, 60s. The guy was like stone cold awesome. Pretty cool from what I glimpsed through. Didn't fully read it, but yeah, I'll show you inside now. My gosh, though, Steve McQueen, like Bullet and Great Escape and The Blob and stuff, he was so good. I mean, that was so awesome. But yeah, lots of pictures of him and all about his life. Pretty cool book, though. If you are a fan of Steve McQueen, I would say definitely a cool one to pick up. And $30. I did not get it for that. I got it at one of the bookstores for cheaper. That's with that shitty sticker. I don't know why a lot of these bookstores put on the worst stickers imaginable. I got to get some Goo Gone. So if you're a fan of classic movies, Turner Classic Movies puts out a lot of really, really nice quality books. They always have really nice covers. They're well written. They're put together well. I like their stuff a lot. So definitely check out TCM Books. This one, 52 Must-See Movies and Why They Matter. Yeah, it's I guess you could kind of see it in the video here, but like look at that shimmer. That is really nice. You got some of my favorite actors on there. That's so cool. But yeah, it's just some of the most iconic movies that that matter. Roman Holiday just passed. All About Eve, that's a great one. What do we got? This is it's a really well put together book. Swing Time, I've not seen that. The Thin Man, good one. There is, what is it, 6 of them, and I have a couple of them. Really cool franchise, though. Duck Soup, King Kong classic. Yeah, it's a really neat book, though. So definitely, oh, Metropolis, that's great. Definitely check something like that out, though, if you like classics. This next one is one of the more weird books I have. It's called Movies and Other Things. This is sold in all major bookstores. This is a Barnes & Noble exclusive one. So I read a chunk of this, and it's weird. It's basically the author made up these fictional scenarios, and he plays them out. Like, I'll open the book up and show you. It's kind of cool. It's factually, it's not a factual book at all. It's just supposed to be an entertainment book. So you should be able to find this in a lot of places. But let's see. What were some of the? I read, like, there was a John Wick one that was like super entertaining. What was it? Were the Jurassic Park Raptors misunderstood? Who's the better tough guy movie dog owner? And this was John Wick versus the guy from The Drop, if you saw The Drop. And I Am Legend, so Will Smith. So it goes through like different scenarios and who would win the scenario. That's the type of stuff that it's fluff. Who gets it worst in Kill Bill? It's just a fluff entertainment book. But if it looks like something that would interest you, I mean, it's easy to find. I got it for 50% off. $25 is the retail. You can get this cheap. Next up is one I picked up from ThinkGeek. They were running a clearance one time. If you've seen Mr. Robot, I've not seen it all yet. I've watched 2 or 3 seasons, somewhere like that, 2 or 3. It's a really interesting show, but this book is super short. But it's I'll show you actually. Let me flip it. It's really cool inside though. So the ThinkGeek exclusive thing about it is signed by the creator and executive producer and the writer. So that's kind of cool. And then it's actually laid out like The Notebook. It's a really interesting little book. I got it dirt cheap on ThinkGeek. Really interesting show. I got to get back to it. This next one is really cool, but also very outdated. It is called Shot on This Site, and it is all filming locations from around the country. A traveler's guide to the places and locations used in famous films, movies, and television shows. This book was made in 1995. I'm not going to flip through because it's mostly words, but there's stuff I noticed in here that is gone at this point. So it's very outdated, but kind of cool. And there is a chunk of the stuff that is still things you could go visit now. Yet another book of some authors' list of their favorite movies. This would be the greatest movies of all time. The spine just says movies. What did I pick this up for? $6.99 or $6.97. This would be a Books A Million sticker. So yeah, this will be like some of the other ones. It's just laying out what pretty much the author deciding that these are the best movies ever made. But it's laid out really nice. The paper stock is really good. Yeah, I'm okay with for like that price. So I previously mentioned Buffy was one of my all-time favorite shows. So I do pick up Buffy books when I can, and I was able to get this one for a good price also, but it's the Watcher's Guide, Buffy. Uh, I want the show to get a Blu-ray so damn bad, even though the special effects would have to get reworked basically like Star Trek. But it's a neat little book. It's in black and white, but it's cool. I'll show you. Really, really loved this show though when it was on. It still holds up really well, I think, besides the fact that I would really like it in HD. But yeah, just all different stuff from about the course of the show, about the characters. There is HD masters. I don't know if they made it through the whole show, but they were butchered in the beginning. Like they screwed up the color composition. I can't even speak words. But scenes that were laid out dark, they made them way too light and it completely ruined the shot. I think they went back and changed that, but God, they really need a Blu-ray release. But Disney ain't gonna do that. Now for some of the bigger books again, some of the really cool ones. Oh, this is a heavy one. Blade Runner 2049. It is interlinked, the art. I loved this movie. Denis Villeneuve made an absolutely gorgeous movie. Very slow paced. It's not everyone's thing, but I loved it. And I bought the art book, and there's another 2049 book that'll be coming right up. I bought them as soon as I could. So yeah, there's I'll probably just pull the other Blade Runner one to show you. Show that one next. I need to get a book or two about the original Blade Runner though, because I have multiple on 2049, and I don't think I have anything on the original Blade Runner. Absolutely gorgeous film though. So you got an idea on that one. And then I also have, let me pull, come on, I'll get to you, Alien book, don't worry. There we go. Okay. The other one is The Art and Soul of Blade Runner 2049. This one is longer. I made a special trip up to Barnes & Noble that like the second they had it. This one is better than the other one. It's better paper stock, just a nicer overall book. Really good though. Yeah, I think you got a basic idea, but God, my wife does not like this movie at all, but yeah, I love it. It's such a beautiful film. I love that cover too. Ugh. Sorry about the length on this so far. I knew this was going to be a long video. I don't even know what length we're at right now. I'd say probably somewhere in the 45-50 minute range, and I wouldn't doubt it ends up being like an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. So feel free to be watching this in parts. But next one is going to be The Making of Alien. So this one is written by J.W. Rinsler. It's hard to hold this with one hand. He is one of the absolute best at these making of books because he gets so in depth and finds never before seen pictures and gets never before heard interviews. He is really, really good. So you see his name attached to a making of book, and it's going to be a quality book. So yeah, look at it's a thick one. Beautiful cover. And I think the list on this was some 60. But it is so much information. Like even the font, it's relatively small because they shoved a ton of information into this book. And pictures no one has ever seen before. Storyboards. I mean, holy shit. If you're an Alien fan, like this is probably the most comprehensive book of information. You'll get more out of this than you even would out of any documentary about Alien. Honest to God, you will not. Nothing you watch about Alien will have more information than this book. back to Mondo again for the Art of Soundtracks. This is, so I already collected Mondo soundtracks before getting this, but this is a really cool book. I'll see if I can capture the look and feel of the cover on the front. Switch it over now. I don't know if video will like get this, but it's got like grooves essentially to make it feel like a record, and it's embossed and debossed in areas to really make it feel like a record. It's really cool, and one of the best composers out there. So happy I got his Up soundtrack now. But yeah, this will all be just talking about different Mondo soundtracks and just the art, what some of the soundtracks actually looked like and the art involved in the releases. Mondo hires great artists for their stuff. So cool thing is I have a fairly decent chunk of the stuff in here. I mean, not a ton, but I have a chunk of the stuff that's in here. Really cool book, though. Next two are sealed, not opening them right now, but you'll have an idea of what they would look like inside. We've got The Art of Frozen 2. I like the Frozen movies. I don't think they're anything like special, but I like them enough. And The Art of Finding Dory. Got both of these for good prices. I just didn't get around to looking at them yet. The next one, though, is Inside Family Guy. I don't watch Family Guy that much anymore. Used to watch it a lot, but it is such a funny show, and this is a signed copy, so it's actually signed by Seth MacFarlane, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I was pretty happy to run across this one in Barnes and Noble. I don't know why he signed it up there instead of on the line. That line is meant to be the signature spot, but anyways, yeah, signed by Seth MacFarlane. Just exactly what it says, Inside Family Guy. Neat book. Really funny. I like his sense of humor. Later I'm going to be showing an Orville book. I am really excited for Orville coming back. Next up, Art of Last Jedi. I had this on pre-order before seeing the movie, and the movie exists. Not my cup of tea. If you like Last Jedi, that's great. Honestly, the Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker were not the franchise. I'm not getting in a rant about this. I don't like Star Wars enough to get in a rant about this. Just I didn't care for it, so I wouldn't have bought the book otherwise, but I had it on pre-order. It is what it is. Then I have bought this cheap Ollie's for $7.99. It's The Art of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. $7.99, still sealed. Very nice. Just nice on the outside. Just didn't open it up yet. And the next one, though, is The Making of Aliens, and this is by that J.W. Rinsler. So just like that Alien book, super informative. This is going to be the exact same thing, but aliens instead of alien. This guy puts in so much time into his books. I know that they're $60 books, and they don't go as cheap as some of these other ones, but I'm telling you, if you're a fan of the movies, like, you will not find anything more comprehensive than his books. Just so much to them. He finds storyboards and artwork and stuff that has never been seen before. You won't find some of this stuff inside special features on the disc, sadly. So, definitely, I think he did a Jaws. I think my Jaws is by him. He did several major movies. I think he did an Indiana Jones one also. So I thought I'm pretty sure he did a Jaws one, that J.W. Rinsler. Just the one I have is not him. This is a really good one though. I kind God, I gotta look. There's a couple of Jaws books I want, but forward in this one is by Greg Nicotero. And there's some cool stuff in this one, so I'll flip the camera, show you inside this one. I especially grabbed it from over there because I was thinking if this was another one of his books, I would show it next, but I don't think I have any more of his. I believe he has an Indiana Jones, though. We got Designing Jaws. Cover is absolutely gorgeous. This book came out not too long ago. It's a little bit smaller, though, than something like the Making of Alien or Aliens. It's just an overall smaller book. It's not full of information quite to the extent of those other ones. But if you're a Jaws fan, something like this is like a no-brainer. I'll just keep the camera this way for these last three because then I'm going to have to charge the phone. Yeah, because I still have those, and then that stuff. I might just quickly run through that stuff next. But yeah, Wonder Woman, the art and making of the film. I enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie. Thought it was good, had a great score. I think I got this for a fairly good price. A lot of these making of books from huge like superhero movies, if you wait a little bit, you can get them for good prices. I mean, at a certain point, I got this for $20, but if you wait too long, I mean, they'll kind of just vanish like the early MCU ones. But next up, we have Into the Spider-Verse making art of and making of. Oh my god, I love this movie, and I am so excited about the news they've released on the new one, that every world will have its own completely different art style. I'm telling you, though, if you liked this movie, check out Mitchell's vs. the Machines. Same animators, same people behind it. It's great, but yeah, I absolutely loved Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, anyone that is against animation, you really have to give this movie a shot, because the work and skill put into this movie is tremendous. It is so damn good. And then the last one right here, we got the Art of Zootopia. I liked Zootopia quite a bit. I thought it was really cute. Had a good message. It's a fun one. It's heartfelt. Liked it quite a bit. Just another standard art and making of, but movie was cute. Okay, so I'm going to get on the floor, kind of just go through these ones quick, because a lot of these are just, they're regular books, and there's not really anything to show inside. What do we got? Real gags, all the inside jokes. Dogma screenplay. VHS collecting. Slasher movies. It's cool. It's pretty cool. There's not much to show. It's just literally a giant list of slasher movies. Magazine. Good magazine, though. 2 Jimmy Fallon books. Book about Don Coscarelli did Bubba Hotep. Got Bruce's Hail to the Chin. Really good book, like excellent. Actually, both his, I loved both of those. The amount of information he gave. And I have the books, but I would so highly recommend the audiobooks for him, because they're actually read by him. And he's just, it's signed. But he is really, really good at narrating, especially his own story. So much information, though. I loved these books. Got Nick Offerman book. Also signed. Really like Nick Offerman. The 12 Lives of Alfred Hitchcock. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I liked that movie. What do we got? Another Buffy. I thought this book was really interesting. I like Alicia Malone a lot. She now works with TCM, but I was following her from even back in like the Screen Junkie days. She was on them quite a bit. She is very knowledgeable. This is a good one. This came from Hammer's home video. I got to get around to this one. Movie Blockbusters. This is an old one. When did this? Found this in a used bookstore. It's 83. 50 greatest top 50's top. Well, I can't speak, but the 50 top grossing movies of all time. But by 83, it was a cool find, I thought. A to Z, great film directors, talking pictures. I did read this whole thing. This is same as that how to watch movies. This is just basically how to dissect and understand different aspects of filmmaking. And then Cars on Film, a celebration of cars on film. Really neat. So that covers that whole section. See, that section was really quick to go through. Some of those, there's not really anything to show. But, you know the feeling when you're starting to get too old and your body is not wanting to work as well. But, yeah, all we're going to have left after I charge this thing up is those and a handful right there. So we're getting there. Okay, I'm back at this and going to try to finish this up now. I've been off and on at this like all day because it keeps killing the battery and then using up all the space. So it's a long one. I'm just going to end up sitting back on the floor again and just try to work through this last little bit here. I've gotten this far now. I may as well finish it up. Going to take a slightly different approach for the last little bit where I'm just going to pull it out, talk, and browse instead of switching back and forth and everything. My shadow is, maybe if I get fully on the floor, try not to make it too shadowy, but anyways, this Back to the Future is just like the Die Hard, the Jurassic Park, and Ghostbusters, where it's got like little memento type things inside. They're just basically glued onto the pages. They're meant to come off. So yeah, another cool one. You can get this one relatively cheap nowadays. We have The Simpsons Family History. Where the heck did I pick this one up? Gosh, I don't even remember. Geez, there's so many Simpsons books, and I legitimately can't remember where I got this one. But pretty neat. I mean, there's a bajillion Simpsons books on the market. Put that over there. We will go for this one next. This one's really cool that let's see, the cover is like embossed in areas and then debossed up there. But Art of the B-Movie Poster. And it's exactly what it says. It's B horror movie posters. Very, very cool. Love posters. I actually just ordered 2 one-sheets today. I am super, super excited about 2. One is, well, the one's an old movie, but it's from a re-release because the original is very expensive. And then the other one's from actually the original from the 80s, so can't wait to show those. But here we've got Alien Covenant, the art and making of it. Just like all the other making ofs. But, geez, I think we have a good chunk of the Alien ones. I feel like I should just get all the Alien making ofs I can. Finish up the franchise. This one. Okay, this I paid. This has dropped a lot in price. I actually paid the $100 at release for this thing. It's got It's magnetized. On the side, there is little art prints in here. This thing has dropped so much in price. But yeah, different little art prints. And then the book, it's hard to do with one hand. Pop this out, sorry. Remove that, and look at that. Look at that holographicness. It's really cool. It's an awesome book, but I paid a ton. Like I said, you can get this much cheaper now, but this visual history of Transformers all together. It in cartoon form, comic form, movie form, video game form. Like, this is just all about the Transformers. So this is a really cool one. If you can get this, I think like $40-50 now. Oh my god, it's so worth it. If you like Transformers, let me get this. Gotta move the ribbon back. This busted on me, unfortunately. It's a nice box, but it's a very heavy one. So kind of a bummer, but I'll just push that up there. Next up will be another Mondo. And this is the Art of Mondo, like, posters, not the soundtracks. This stuff I have, I'd have to look through. Not a good chunk, I should say. I have some of the ones in here. I shouldn't say a good chunk. Love a lot of these artists. We do have that, Fantasia, the original one. What else we got? Mondo has been around for a while doing this, so some of these originals from them go for a ton of money, and a lot of stuff is based on, like, the artist itself. Certain artists, just their stuff commands more. I mean, kind of just the way it is. Come on. Okay, good. I don't want to bend the... you know what? Turn it back and then turn multiple pages. I don't want anything to... Oh, so this one is a Grail one for me. I would absolutely love it. It is, last I looked, around like the $500-600 range for that one. What else we got in here? I got into this hobby, like, not late. We started buying screen prints like 2016-17, but it started years before that, and some of these early ones, man, they go for a ton. So this book is the only way I could officially own some of this stuff in any fashion. Looking for more that I actually own. Those go for crazy money. So that is Ollie Moss. He did a whole trilogy worth. It folds out. They go for a boatload. And then this is Tyler Stout. His also go for a boatload. Not the Ollie Moss amount of money, but enough, I should say. What else do we got? I'm spending a lot of time on this book and should probably shift to another one. I really love this stuff. Yeah, I'll shift to another book. But I really, really love Mondo and posters, just posters in general. Let's put that very heavy, awesome book over there. And next up, grab the Ghostbusters artwork. Art book. Full of artwork. But this is like some of the other ones where its only purpose is just to collect a bunch of different artwork from different artists based on one specific property. And it's all Ghostbusters, and it's all awesome. Well, you got a pretty good idea on that one, though. Next up, we have another one you can get pretty cheap nowadays. The Good, the Tough, and the Deadly. This is all just about action stars from the 80s and 90s. it's really cool. It's just all about action movies and action stars. If you like action, this thing is like an encyclopedia. It's crazy. There's a lot of information in this thing. And I think you can get it for a really, really good price now. I paid closer to retail, which is $45. I probably paid ballpark that, but you could get it more like $20 now. Next up, we got... Oh, geez. Blood on Black Wax. We did one of the other ones that were like this. This is all just going to be horror soundtracks. Just about horror soundtracks. And yeah, there's already been another one of these I showed, so I own some of these. Ooh, I do love... I own Under Their Skin. I have that one too. But love that one. The artwork is by Phantom City Creative. I have the Mondo poster for it, and I have the soundtrack. I'll eventually, when I do the complete soundtrack collection video, you'll see that. But very cool book, signed by the authors. This was a Record Store Day exclusive. Next up, what do you think this book, what movie do you think this covers? If you said They Live, you'd be right. This is completely a They Live book. And I just love it's got information in it, but just the subtle stuff like that all mixed in. It's a really cool book. Wish it was hardcover, but still, got this at Rough Trade. I like that one a lot. Yeah, we'll avoid that one. And then we'll go to Making of Dunkirk. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Dunkirk is my favorite Nolan movie. I know. That's blasphemous, but I absolutely adore this movie. I like it more than 1917. I've rewatched it so many times. It is really, to me, it's a flawless movie. I love it. I don't care if I'm Dunkirk's biggest fan out there. I just really love this movie. Very, very nice book on it. The performances in this movie, the cinematography, the score, just everything about it. Top notch. So that just cleared out that cube. So not too much more. Sometimes you don't realize how much you have of something until you actually start doing something like this. Like, I want to do a complete 4K collection, and I will. But I think I'm going to have to plan it a little bit better, because this is just, I don't know how many books, but it's not that much, and this is taking me all day. This is kind of crazy. But I'll switch over the other camera view. But first, I want to just pull this up, because this thing is insane. This is my longest book. I don't know why. It's obnoxiously long. It's this giant-ass Jerry Bruckheimer book. No idea why they made this thing the size they did. I don't get it. I'm going to switch camera view right now, and I'm struggling picking it up. I don't even know how to properly turn the pages in this thing, because look at the size. I cleared. This is obnoxiously long. I mean, it's cool, but it is so long. I'm glad we have the stuff now in calyx type cubes, because on bookshelves this is way too long. I got this at Ollie's, I think, and they can't seem to get rid of it. They've been sitting on shelves for a while. But next one up, we have The Astounding Illustrated History of Science Fiction. If you notice, there's a lot of science fiction and a lot of horror mixed in my books. Love those genres. But this one's pretty cool. Got this one super cheap. This one was not much whatsoever. It's kind of exciting that we're getting there. A David Fincher book. Ooh, just sitting fully back down again. So I showed this off in a previous video. This is a relatively recent pickup. But this is all about David Fincher, all about his movies. David Fincher is a fantastic director, so I definitely had to have this. I would like to see more director-driven books. It's embossed, too. Yeah, that's really cool. Scoop my ass forward. Grab Chappie. This was actually one of my earlier art books since I started collecting. This was relatively early. I liked Chappie. It got a lot of hate, but I really liked it. Were the two of the characters super obnoxious? Yeah, of course they were, but we weren't really meant to fall in love with them. They were obnoxious, and I was okay with that. But I enjoyed this movie. It made me actually feel for Chappie. So, but yeah, those other characters they're terrible, but it's okay. I'm okay with that. Next up, bought this one a little bit ago. Didn't open it yet. I'll open it right now because just didn't get around to it yet. Love Galaxy Quest though, so we'll both see what inside looks like at the same time. Alrighty, it's open now. I'm really pumped about the 4K rumor on this, but okay, yeah, this is about what I thought it would be. These type of books are all pretty similar. Galaxy Quest is so good though. If you don't have to like Star Trek, I guess, but a lot of jokes will land better if you are at least familiar with it. Like, so Sam Rockwell plays Guy, who is basically, if you watched the original Star Trek show, there was red shirts who were basically these unnamed characters that were only in the episode to die. That was their goal. They were expendable. And he was basically that in this movie, and he was worried everywhere he went that he was gonna die. It was very funny. He was great. The whole cast in this movie was just top notch. Seriously, everyone was great. Really, really loved this one. This looks like it'll be a really cool book to go through, though. All right, what do we got next? Pull out Lincoln. This is, again, more what you would expect. Love Spielberg movies, though, and Lincoln was damn good. The cinematography in it was great, and the score was great. And Spielberg did a great job actually making it like a really compelling movie. Liked that one quite a bit. Trying to shimmy on the floor. Horror cinema. Gee, I wonder what this one's about. I love so there's the rumor there's not a rumor for the 4K, is there? Anyway, whenever this comes to 4K though, I want this to be the artwork. This is so iconic. This is one of the most well shot scenes out there. I love it. So I really do hope that just stays as the artwork. But pretty cool book. Close that one, and on next, this is a really cool one. I picked this one up not long ago. Really liked looking through this one. And it's just all about the Universal Monsters. The whole history of Universal Monsters. Definitely the type of thing to look through like around Halloween time. But in general, if you're a fan of like early monster movies, this is very cool. Tons of awesome pictures in it. And this one could be found very, very easily. Trying to stretch. I showed this one in a recent video, but that's really cool that it's signed by all those people, with that one being Gareth Edwards, the director. Otherwise, it's just the standard art of making of for Rogue One. Oh, so good though. This right here is the best thing Disney has done with Star Wars as of now. I like The Mandalorian quite a bit. Their TV side, they're doing better than their movie side, but my God, that new trilogy. Oh my God. Got Interstellar, Beyond Time and Space. This is a phenomenal movie. I think the soundtrack is what wins the most for me in this, though. The soundtrack is top notch in every way. I am a really big soundtrack person. Just whatever. I can't seem to pick it up. Got another Star Wars book. I picked this one up because the artwork on the front is by Jen Bartel. I like her stuff. I have some of it. But otherwise, this is just about women characters from Star Wars universe. Which is a pretty cool idea. Put a book out like this. But yeah, it's pretty... I notice a lot of artist stuff. I like that type of stuff. We've got a Buffy Encyclopedia. More Buffy. And you know what's funny? Since I recorded earlier today, and I showed that other Buffy book, and I was mentioning about Joss, since then, an article went up about Joss responding to people. Literally, in between me filming, about him responding to, Ray, what's his name? Ray Fisher and Charisma Carpenter and stuff. And the stuff he said did not make him look any better. He sounds like a complete fucking tool. Oh my God, it's such a bummer. The stuff he said. Oh my gosh. He even responded about what Gal Gadot said, and basically his response was, oh, English isn't her first language, so she didn't get it. Whatever, dude. I love his stuff, but doesn't mean I have to be a fan of him anymore. Another Alien book. Alien books out the wazoo, as you could see. Not as informative, though, as those ones by J.W. Rinsler. This. Very cool one. I'm shocked that this got a book. But I love Orville. This is another one where if you like Star Trek, you're a Star Trek fan, give this show a shot. It's better than newer Star Trek. Honestly, this is a really phenomenal show. I'm so pumped that it's coming back for a season 3. I hope they build in an ending for it, though, if it doesn't get renewed for a 4. But really love this show. It's weird, like, it's a Seth MacFarlane, and it does have dumb jokes, but it has a lot of heart, and you can tell how much Seth MacFarlane actually loves Star Trek. But let's see if I can grab the last. All right. Wow. All right. Got a John Hughes book all about John Hughes. This guy is quite possibly one of the best directors out there that has never, but one of the best directors that was out there that never really got the credit of that. He didn't direct a whole lot, but what he directed, it's some like groundbreaking shit though. I mean, you got Pretty in Pink and Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller. He's written Home Alone, and like he had such a big impact. And he started the careers of, like, Chris Columbus would not be anybody without John Hughes. So that's a very cool one. That's just I picked that up at, like, Goodwill. And then this is a cool one. A Grace Kelly book. One of my favorite actresses. She would be my favorite classic actress. But Grace Kelly is amazing. Absolutely beautiful woman and just amazing actress. This is a really cool one. Rear Window is such a great movie. But yeah, I picked that one up actually at retail, I think, which doesn't have the price. It was a decent amount though. And then, so I have Audrey the 60s. I need Audrey the 50s. And that might even be, I don't know if there's a 70s, but there's a 50s version. I need that. Hamilton book used to have it. I missed out on it. I really need to pick that up. I need to get it somewhere. But yeah, Audrey was such an amazing person. Not even just actress, like an amazing person. So this is such a cool book. Place that there, and then all that would be left is a couple of things over here. I'm like shuffling around on the floor. Movie Star Chronicles. Paid $5 for this one, but it's just about actors and actresses. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. Yeah. Some of this stuff, though, is stuff I already shown in videos. Like, I already showed this in a video. It's just because it's a lot of the newer stuff. Art of Goosebumps, I already showed in a video. I believe I showed... Yeah, I'm pretty sure I showed this, because this would be a pretty much brand new arrival, but, I mean, it's all for the new Ghostbusters movie, which, oh my god, that new Blu-ray set, the new 4K, oh, can't wait. I'm going to spend like 20 hours on that damn set. So much special features. But, we got that. I literally just showed that off. And then a Time magazine. It's got the wrong damn Indiana Jones movie on the cover, but it's rated as a Lost Ark issue. And then I showed this already, which is really good, but I already showed it. Otherwise, that completes it. Okay, so yeah, that completes it. It's like 7:30 at night, and I started this at like 10 a.m. I mean, I had to stop because either ran out of storage space or the phone died. So I started and stopped multiple times. But this was cool. It was cool going through it. I hope it helps out if anyone is interested in any of these books. I showed off probably like 90% of the insides or like 90% of the books I showed the inside. So yeah, hopefully you stuck in there for some of it. If anyone skimmed or what, I don't care. I mean, this is a long ass video. I don't blame you. This thing was, I don't even know. I didn't start editing yet. And I'm going to say it's probably an hour and 20 minutes. That's my guess. An hour and 20 minutes. But yeah, I don't got too much else. I guess, like I said, I'll do a complete 4K collection at some point here. I just have to figure out, I guess, a better way to do it. I don't know. But yeah, I do a complete vinyl soundtrack and a complete 4K and some other stuff like that. But I don't really got anything else to say, so I'll let you all go. Have a great day, night, morning, whatever time you're watching this. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.